Okay. Well,
Hello.
I think we're there. We are trying to stream to, I think, 46 different places.
Approximately 46.
Yeah, 46.
Yes.
So
we're not going to be able to see what everyone is saying everywhere because we're doing this in a really very professional manner. We have 2 cell phones set up with 2 different TikTok accounts. And then we have StreamYard with YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So
yeah. So if you're on TikTok watching,
it's really nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
The text is like this big, and he's not quite blind, but pretty close. So,
pretty close.
We will do our best
Yes.
to see what you say. But if we don't, it's nothing personal, and I'm very sorry. But hi.
Yeah.
I'm Megan. This is Josh. We're all smushed together because we're also doing the whole vertical streaming thing, which is new for both of us. I feel very old.
That's all right.
And quite out of place.
It's all a journey.
Why are we here, Josh?
We are here because it got published today.
Hooray!
So I don't know if it's backwards on the screen, but that says Learn to Read Ancient Hebrew, an Introduction for Complete Beginners.
And he's not joking when he says complete beginners.
Yeah, it's definitely for complete beginners. But it finally came out. Finally, I mean, we scheduled it for release. Finally, because the editing process has been...
It takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Because we self-publish all of our books, partly for creative control, partly because it's more financially sensible for us. And because frankly, when we started, we weren't really sure if actual publishing houses would be terribly interested in what we were doing. Turns out they are, but we're still doing it ourselves. But what that means is proofreading is like me and then whoever else would like to read the book. So we had Dr. Corinna Nichols go through it because she knows Hebrew and she did some fantastic changes. And then he goes through it again, and then I go through it again, and then he reads everything out loud. And eventually we're satisfied that we don't have any bizarre mistakes because we published our Learn to Read Ancient Sumerian book 8 years ago now, and we still get the occasional email saying there's a typo on page 43, and I'm like, oh, I thought I got all of those. No.
Yeah, I actually taught through this past year. I taught through Learn to Read Ancient Sumerian on Digital Hammurabi, and as I've got it up on the screen and I'm taking the students through it, I'm like, oh my God,
class of people.
That should say on, not in. But anyway, so we wanted to do a stream, and Megan is far better at the marketing component here than I am.
I mean, not by much, if we're very honest.
No,
the only reason I'm better is because we actually, given that this is becoming an actual business rather than something we just do in the evenings and weekends, we got a business consultant who is a very dear friend of mine, and she essentially said, Megan, you've got all these fantastic books. Why do you never tell anyone that they exist? Like, well, I don't know. It feels weird. And she said, no, Megan, you have to tell people that they exist.
And she was like, do whatever I feel like I want to do. Gosh.
Because I'm secretly Napoleon.
Yes,
I did see a comment on TikTok asking how many pairs of glasses I own. The answer is I don't know. Not as many as people seem to think. There are comments on the Misquoting Jesus podcast saying that I essentially own one for every day of the week, and I really don't.
Close, but
it's not though. So what I do every time I get a new prescription, I buy a couple of pairs, and my prescription doesn't change drastically year on year. So I get a couple of new pairs every year, but I can still use ones from like 2, 3, 4 years ago. I don't use them for driving. I'm just going to throw that out there. When I'm driving, I use my most recent prescription because that is safe. And if I'm like reading for long periods of time, obviously. But if I'm sitting on a podcast chatting to people, I just choose whatever pair of glasses I feel like wearing that day.
So
I derailed you.
No.
This is, for those of you who are new, this is how our streams tend to go. There's a lot of rambling. There's a lot of me interrupting Josh because I have a squirrel brain, and he's very patient. And then we try and remember where he was, which doesn't work very well because he has MS.
We did a stream last night about the book on the Canadian Atheist podcast, which everybody should go check out on, wherever podcasts are. I don't know. Sorry.
The podcast streaming app of your choice.
There you go. I mean, what she said.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Canadian Atheist.
So sorry. Someone just asked if we're a couple. Yes, we've been married a while and we have 3 children. 5 children total, 3 that we made together.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry.
They're all lovely. Fun story. And this has happened a couple of times, but one that stands out. So people may know me that are watching Bowtie Bible Guy or Dr. B or Dr. Josh, whatever. But
or you.
It invariably happens that when I go do an interview with someone, about 3/4 of the way through, something will come up that will just remind me of some project that Megan is working on. And I'll say, yeah, Megan is, Megan, that's the host of the Misquoting Jesus podcast with Bart Ehrman. And it never fails to go, that's your wife? So Megan is absolutely the smarter of the two. It's interesting because I went and spoke at a conference. Some of you may know this already, but I went and spoke at a conference a couple of years ago. And the Saturday morning, it was a weekend conference. And the Saturday morning, they had like a sort of continental breakfast. And I was down there and I got a plate and I started to go up and, put some food on. And there was a woman, an attendee of the conference standing there. And she's kind of looking at me. And she walked up and she said, I know you. And, you get that kind of feeling. She said,
kind of famous.
You're Megan Lewis's husband, aren't you? And I was like,
yes, I am.
If you could just hang on a second, let me grab my pride off of the floor here. Got it. Thank you. No, it's wonderful. So it's great to be married to a famous person.
I love you. I'm not famous.
You are.
No. So we're going to do this because this is why we're here.
This is why
I know
we've
had a few people joining on various platforms. This is what we're here to talk about. Josh wrote a new book. He's actually written 6 this year because he just is that good, and I hate him. I don't really hate him. I think it's very impressive, and I wish I could do the same. But this one is Learn to Read Ancient Hebrew, an Introduction for Complete Beginners, Volume 1, and it is out officially today. You can go to our Etsy store. There should be links in all of the places. But if you go to digitalhammurabi.com/books, you can find the links for our Etsy store or our Amazon. But I know lots of people are not doing Amazon at the moment for, decent reasons. So the Etsy store is also there.
And to be clear about the whole 6 books thing, that sounds, far more impressive than it is. So it's Learn to Read Ancient Hebrew, Volumes 1, 2, and 3. Oh, and somebody just joined us.
It's Kip.
There he is.
Hello, guys. How are you?
So the downside of this is people on TikTok actually can't see Kip.
Oh.
We didn't think that one through very well.
Yeah.
Really?
So
why can't they see me?
Because our phones are...
StreamYard doesn't connect to TikTok. So we've got our phones up.
Oh.
TikTok thing.
There's a way you can do it, apparently.
You can do it, everyone. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I'm excited about and exploring for the future. But it sounds like it's a lot of initial setup. But
I can do initial setup. That's okay.
So yeah, we should talk. But
I wanted Kip to come on. This is Dr. Kip Davis. Again, for those of you on TikTok, you can't see him.
He's very nice.
But you probably know him. He is a Dead Sea Scrolls specialist, and he just published a brand new book, God's Propaganda, and it is a tome, and it's amazing, and you should go get a copy of it. And we will be together at SBL this coming weekend. So,
I will not be.
It's going to be fun, and that's sad.
Next year, maybe.
So,
but I asked Kip, we're not going to be streaming for too long today, but I asked him if he had a couple of minutes. It'd be really cool if he could come on because, as I was just saying, the 6 books that I wrote this year are volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Learn to Read Ancient Hebrew, and then I'm just about done volume 3. So I wrote volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Learn to Read Ancient Akkadian, and since I'm teaching through both of those courses currently, it's not such an impressive thing that I'm just sort of writing in understandable language what it is that I'm teaching, and then generating exercises. And then anyway, it's less impressive, I think, than how you make it sound. But
I mean,
I appreciate it.
I still think it's impressive.
But I was
think it's impressive.
Well,
Kip
that's
thinks
very
it's
kind.
impressive.
I was hoping Kip could come on, because Kip has also been teaching on Digital Hammurabi, Learn to Read Biblical Hebrew, and you are teaching your third semester class. Is that right?
Yeah, we're halfway done. We'll be finished by Christmas, and I'll
Yeah.
be starting over again in January. I'm gonna
And
be
for those of you that didn't hear that, Kip is just about finished his third semester, and he will be starting the cycle back over in January. So if you're interested in studying biblical Hebrew live with a biblical scholar, we are in. I'm starting the second semester
Hebrew
of
2, Hebrew reading,
and Hebrew readings
Mm.
Akkadian.
and
2.
Akkadian too. So I won't be starting another Hebrew cycle until later than that. So
Another time.
if you're interested and you want to get started, Kip is obviously a brilliant specialist. Dead Sea Scrolls, worked with Emmanuel Tove. He's the man, the myth, the legend. So definitely check out the courses.
If you go to digitalhammurabi.com, sign up for the mailing list, then you'll get all of the
Yeah.
course notifications there. And sorry, I keep interrupting you. Someone asked about Sumerian books. We do have more coming. There will be a Sumerian, Learn to Read Sumerian 3 and a Sumerian readings book. I don't know when, but yes, they are on the project list and they will be turning up.
Yeah, those are the two that are currently out, volumes 1 and 2. And
We need to get new covers for them too.
yeah, we do. But the reason that I wanted Kip to come up is he's been teaching using my books, the unpublished, drafts of them. And I was just hoping maybe he would want to come up and say,
Yeah.
give an honest review. Look, an honest review is what I want. Hopefully it's an amazing honest review. No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's been very generous. It was very generous of you guys to allow my Hebrew class to be the guinea pigs for this, because it saved them from also having to go out and purchase textbooks. So I was very appreciative of that. But like it's a platform which is, because it's just really user friendly. It's very intuitive, which is the direction that that you've prioritized in teaching in your language teaching resources. It's something that like Josh and I have been talking about and complaining about for quite some time. So many learn to read Hebrew resources out there, and one of the things that so many of them have in common is that there's one. I have a so this where is it this okay, this shelf here. So those are all learn to read Hebrew resources. Like it's there's lots. And the one thing that almost all of them seem to have in common is that they're these gigantic books that have there's been a systematic way of teaching the language. It's how Josh learned it. It's how Megan learned it. It's how I learned it, where you just get inundated with all this information, and you start, for some reason, at least this was for me, we started with nouns, and I didn't even think we touched a verb until until like weeks, months into learning, which is just an unnatural way.
Yeah, I think
of
in
learning the
SEO
language.
it's like lesson 13.
Yeah,
So you're
right?
through the entire first semester, just so that everybody on TikTok can understand what's going on. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know how to make it. Kip is laying it down, and it's great. But he's just to summarize, he's using the our books to go through the class, and he's talking about how, generally speaking, learn to read biblical Hebrew textbooks like the one that I held up by Chunlong Seao, the way that we learned, Megan and Kip and I learned biblical Hebrew like so many other students, is that you're using grammars that they're not really designed for you to go in by yourself. They're there as to be in tandem with an actual Hebrew scholar who can walk you through and say, okay, I know it says all this stuff, but you don't really need to know about that. Focus in on this. And that's vexing because you end up spending 13 weeks learning about nouns, and then you finally get a verb, right? So that's what are you saying? So please, Kip, go ahead. Sorry.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, it's an unnatural way of learning the language. It's a more complicated way of learning the language that I think turns a lot of people off. I think people quit after a while, in large part because of it. And there's an easier, a more enjoyable way of doing this. And I think your books really are they really help facilitate the enjoyment of the learning experience. My students have I don't know if any are, I haven't seen any, but I also didn't know that you guys were doing this. So, but I know that the reviews I've been getting from my students have been overwhelmingly positive in terms of their experience with the books. So I mean, they have they've had lots of suggestions for corrections and typos, and some things, some minor things that make I think provide some small improvements just in terms of the mostly formatting, stuff like that too.
I
But
do think having a whole class go through it really early on in the editing process was really, really helpful for the feedback and for making sure that actually the book was doing what we wanted, which is providing an accessible, friendly introduction to Hebrew without making people want to run away. So
yeah, for TikTok, Kip has been talking about. Sorry,
we'll fix this the next time.
Yeah, but he's been talking about how the students have been going through, and there's been, I think, what is it that you said, Kip? That I don't walk on water as an author, but nothing above the ankles gets wet. I think that's how you worded it. I can't remember precisely. Just kidding. No, but
it was a paraphrase.
Kip's like, yeah, absolutely.
But the students, his students made helpful suggestions because they've been using the drafts, and so they've been able to go through and say, one of the suggestions that I recall you actually gave me a couple of weeks ago. One of the students said, and this might not mean anything to anybody that's listening, which is fine, but Dr. Kip, there's no discussion at all about when object suffixes are attached to verbs directly. And I thought, as a Kip, brought that up to me, and I said, no, I must discuss that somewhere.
See, it surprised me too, right?
Yeah.
Like, as soon as he mentioned it to me, I'm like, what? No, come on.
And there's like a throwaway sort of line in the chapter on suffixes that says they can go on verbs. But the problem is that I think, and Kip and the student they're absolutely right. I think need to put a little bit of discussion. So that was a nice sort of catch, because it's difficult to, when you're writing something like this, what you don't want to do is overwhelm the student with too much information. And one of the examples that I always give is, like, if you're explaining plurals to elementary school students, you're going to tell them at first, if this is their first exposure to this grammatical principle of how to make a word a plural, you say you put an S on the end of a word. Yeah, and you might talk about, sometimes you'll see ES, but generally speaking, that's all you're going to say. What you're not going to do is say, okay, now let's talk about when irregular plurals like ox and oxen, or when you have an actual shift in the form of the word itself, so goose going to geese. There are some nouns that actually won't show a distinction between a singular and a plural. Like, you don't do any of that shit. But the problem is that grammars that that we look at, that we've utilized, they do give all of that at once.
Oh my God,
And
yeah.
so yeah. Anyway,
And I think, yeah, I mean, one of the things that I do really appreciate about your book too. Now, as an instructor, I have a tendency to use any text that I've assigned as a helpful resource, and I'm not often slavishly committed to just
Following.
essentially reading the book for the class, right, in lectures. So I pick and choose the things that I highlight, which and honestly but here's the thing, like, you've already done a lot of that, right? It's super helpful how many times in the book that you introduce a concept, go through some examples, and then just stop and say, look, don't memorize this. Just stop it. Just don't do that, and
there
don't
will
think you
always
have
be
to.
that student. There will
Memorize
always
is
be that
absolutely.
Yes.
student.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
was that
right?
stupid student. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I
They're
know.
they're just dedicated. They're just dedicated.
But that's
Uh,
that's a lot of it, and it's because you're absolutely right. I mean, we all had to, and I have the benefit of teaching right now again, which where these things. If you ever really want to learn a language, the best way to do it is to teach it. You have to learn it first, but then when you
yes.
when you teach it, everything is just, yeah, it's just right there. But these are all things that we learned. Like, I did, at one time, learn and have to repeat all the forms of the of the Hiffiel for first yod
Right.
verbs, and I was able to recognize but you know what, after several years, yeah, that kind of stuff, it just slip. You learn it once, and then you're kind of like, oh yeah, it's not something I have to fixate on at that level anymore. And I
Yeah.
think you've just removed that step for students, because honestly, at this level, at the level that, because we're just trying to get people interested and excited about the language. We're not trying to create an army of unemployed biblical scholars to
Having
include.
said that, I do think an army of unemployed biblical scholars could get an awful lot done.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not sure what, but we would find a useful.
It'd be something, undoubtedly. So
I love the fact, by the way, that the people watching TikTok have no idea what the context
I'm
was for
sorry
that
about
comment. No.
No, that's not on you. That's on us. TikTok, I might just shut you down because this can't be enjoyable for anybody. If you want to watch, go over to YouTube
Yeah, I guess
/Digital
that's
Hammurabi.
probably
We'll be
smart.
there. And the next time we do this, I will work out how on earth to do it properly. So
But
thank
thank
you
you
for joining
all
us.
for hanging out with us.
yeah.
And so if I, because I just want to sort of highlight one thing that you said, and then I'll shut up again. Like, Kip is teaching through book 3 right now.
Yeah.
And there, for those of you that know anything about Hebrew, or if you don't, there are ways that verbs are formed that they get seemingly kind of complicated. And what happens is, when you're using something like Sayal's book, the way that they're presented, and for those of you that do know Hebrew, I'm talking about things like the pual and the hofal and the pill pail and the all the other minor stems. But the way that they get presented usually is they seem to be just as important, or almost as important, as the cow, like the main way that a verb is formed. And so in the chapter, and I don't know if Kip's read ahead, but like in the chapter where I start talking about the minor stems, like the pual and the halfal and the hitpael, I actually have a breakdown. I went into BibleWorks, my search engine that I use for the Hebrew Bible, and I searched on every form, every permutation of a verb in one of these stems.
Wow.
And to give you an idea, the cal verbs, the one that's used the most, there are approximately 50,000 occurrences of a verb in the cal. Then after that, it's the hifil. I think there's like 14,000. Then after that is the PL. I think there's like 6,000. And then the nifal is like 4,000 or 3,000, something like that. Anyway, I'm getting those mixed up. But then the pual and the halfal, the two minor major stems, they're 800 occurrences apiece. And then after that, with these other things like, so 50,000 for the cow, 800 in the whole Hebrew Bible.
Yeah.
There are 800 occurrences of a verb in the pual. And then after that, like things like the pill pail, I think there's 80. And then the hit pal pail, there's 15 of them, 15 in the whole Hebrew Bible. So the idea, like what Kip's talking about, is the idea of sitting down to, all right, I'm going to memorize the third week form of the halfal. What? Why would you possibly do that?
No,
there's no reason, right?
Just stop it. Just don't. No. Yeah. Just don't do that. So, and that's one of that is one of the things that I certainly appreciate. I think my students appreciate the number of times that you just stop and say, don't memorize this, right? And there are parts too when I'm teaching where I even just recently, I think when we were working on the nifal, I just said, look, it's all there on page like 76. Just go look at it. It's a single page. Know they're there. Make sure you understand what Josh is talking about, but then move on. Like there's a lot of this stuff that that we don't need to fixate on, that I think you've done a really good job in balancing the like focusing on the important stuff, like your vocabulary and the primary stems, and recognizing, when the rules are in effect in operation. And for like the rules I'm talking about is for people watching, there are lots of times within Hebrew, and this is really helpful in terms of just your ability to memorize and to understand the language. If you understand the ways in which vowel sounds will have to change because of a particular letter, or where it occurs in the syllabification of a word, it's always really helpful to understand that this is something that's going to happen. So there's a regular repeated fixation throughout Josh's work on just remembering the rules. Don't forget the rules. And even if, and I say this to my students all the time, even if you don't know even if you don't know, oh, this is a long E vowel that's replacing a short I vowel, because of this rule. I'm like, but the rules are there, and you know what they do. This should just automatically key you in on what to look for in order to break down this word and to understand what's happening in this sentence. Certainly at this stage, right? Like at the beginning stage, just recognition and not feeling a panic, like I don't know what's going on, right?
Right.
I think that's super valuable, and I think your books do a very good job of that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I think maybe if people would entertain it, I'll just
and
read a
goddamn,
paragraph.
it looks so hot,
Doesn't it? Oh, you know,
Dude.
our graphic designer, or the individual that put the book cover together, she did such a phenomenal job.
Great
She's doing the
Isaiah scroll,
Acadian.
by the way.
Yeah,
Everyone. So
it's funny. I said
word for word.
I said, Kip, do you? I just I messaged him and said, Kip, do you recognize which which text from Qumran is? And within like 3 seconds, he wrote back, which should be unsurprising as a Dead Sea Scroll specialist. He's like, oh yeah, it's from column
Well,
1 of.
Sort of, because it took me longer than that because I looked at it, I'm like, well, it sure does look like the Great Isaiah Scroll, but it's not
It didn't take him
like
it didn't take him longer than that, because I watched my phone, so he can say that it took him longer than that, but it didn't. But I thought maybe I'd read a very short section from the book
Yeah,
so that you can kind of get a
absolutely.
feel. So Kip was talking about how vowels will change and why that might be when a word changes. So here, this is under the section, the shortened vowel shava. Take a second and pronounce the word story out loud. Go ahead. I'll wait.
Story.
Good. Now, say the word history out loud.
History.
Did you notice the difference in the way that you pronounce the
That is so
letters?
helpful.
Did you notice the way that you notice the difference in the way you pronounce the letters S-T-O-R-Y when you said story in comparison to when you said them in the word history? Focus on the way that you pronounce the O in both words. In the first, you pronounced a nice full vowel, story. However, when you said the second word, you probably barely pronounced the O at all. This is because the accent or emphasis in the word history is on the first syllable, and we've discussed syllables at this point, so that word isn't a mystery to you, which means that you quickly move through the rest of the word, leaving that O sound with barely any pronunciation at all. You probably pronounced it like a very short U sound, like the letter A in the word syllable. You can also hear it in the first O in automobile and the first A in the word ahead. That shortened vowel sound is called a shavah in Hebrew, and it is written in Hebrew with 2 dots, one on top of the other. So that's the introductory section to talking about this shortened vowel sound and why it happens. So it's written in that kind of language. Now, I haven't like done this ahead of time, but let me find this section in Sayal on the vocal shavah so that you can hear kind of the difference in the way that it's presented. Yeah, here we go. This is on page 9 of the book. The schwa is a sign, and he has the sign there, placed under a consonant to indicate either a half vowel or no vowel at all. When it represents a half vowel, it is said to be vocal. When it represents nothing, it is said to be silent. The vocal schwa sounds like the first vowel in the English word Kareen. It is represented by, and he has the international linguistic sound symbol. I can't remember what that's called. It's a short, or it's an italicized E with like a U over top of it. Anyway.
We're very, very highly educated.
Yes, in transliteration. And then he gives an example in Hebrew, barit. The silent schwa has no phonetic value, and so it is not represented in transliteration. It simply indicates the close of a syllable. It is present under every consonant that closes a syllable, except at the end of a word. And he gives 2 examples in Hebrew. So, like, that's all true. What Sayal said is correct, right? Obviously. But it may leave you at the end of the paragraph going, what was that now? And that's sort of the idea, I think, behind the way that, certainly the way that Kip and I teach and the way that this book is written. So just to remind everybody, in case you joined, sorry, we are talking about our new book, Learn to Read Ancient Hebrew, an Introduction for Complete Beginners, Volume 1. It just was released today. You can find it on...
If you go to digitalhammurabi.com/books, there are links there for purchasing. And we are still doing, probably finish taking orders tomorrow for signed copies. Because if we run it indefinitely, then I get very stressed because then I have to keep remembering to get Josh to sign things, which is not a strong point of my remembering things. I mean, Josh is great at signing things. He like holds a pen and everything. I can't remember things to save my life.
But they are also available, just like all the other books that we have published on Amazon. If people use that, but if you're interested in an alternative, Megan has that and all our other books on our Etsy shop, which you can find through digitalhammurabi.com.
Rabbi Hannah is here. She said hi.
Oh.
Well, she was here. She may have run off to do other things.
Oh, I was looking like in the stream.
She's yeah. I mean, she commented literally a minute ago, so I think she must.
And I thought I saw a super chat. Maybe.
Oh, quite possible.
You did.
It's all the way over there.
Woo.
Oh, there's another one from Archival Bob as well.
Thank you. So thank you very much, Domingo Avalis.
So I should know Latin much better than Greek since I've taught it a lot more. Somehow it doesn't feel that way. At any rate, here's my super chat in support of your educational output. Thank you very, very much. That's kind. Very, very kind. May your book yield great hatikva. Oh, wait, you have to say it wrong. Hatikva. Hatikva. Right? Isn't that how he said it? I can't remember.
Well, I mean, I don't think Wes ever actually said it.
Right.
Because it was in the interview with John Mead, and John Mead said the word properly. He said ahaftika.
So that everybody understands, and this is actually a really great example of why you should get this book or take Kip's or my Hebrew class. Wes Huff, who skyrocketed to fame after his interaction with
Billy Carson.
I almost just said Billy Madison. Like, yeah, that would be difficult. Back to school. Shampoo is better. Okay, anyway. Not Billy Madison, Billy Carson. He had I don't know if it was his Hebrew professor or a Hebrew professor. I'm not sure, but he had someone who knows and teaches biblical Hebrew on his show, and the individual was like talking about sort of like an introduction to Hebrew and how the language works. And so he said it's really fascinating. Now this is a pre-recorded video, so it wasn't that it was live. Live, I could, be a little more. This was pre-recorded and edited.
Yeah.
And the professor said, let's take the word ahavtika or ahavticha. That is actually, in English, 3 words. So ahavti is I love, and then the cha ending, which I think he just pronounced with a hard K, means you. So ahavticha is I love you. Okay. While he was saying this, the video, went to
you can't hear it, but I could show you.
Oh, you know what?
You
could share. Couldn't you share the screen?
I could, but you won't be able to hear him saying ahavtika. But you could see it.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, if you want to share it, go for it.
Yeah. Here we go. So, because the great thing about this is that so there's hatikva, right? And there's I love you.
So the word in Hebrew,
that's the best part.
That's what made it great. Is this was his actual graphic, like on the stream, right? So the professor is saying here, the word ahavticha means I love you. Well, the word that's on the screen is ha tikva. Tikva means hope, and ha is you put it on the front as the definite article, means the. Mm-hmm. So
ha tikva is actually the name of the Israeli national anthem.
That's right. So then he says, so it's actually 3 words in English, ahavti, which means I love. And when he said that, this graphic separated into these 3 constituent parts. Okay, so if there's nothing else that this says, is that whoever was doing the editing maybe didn't know Hebrew very well. Right. I think maybe we could draw that. That's an inference that we could make. But anyway, what's nice is that you will appreciate this. You will understand why this is an issue, and you will appreciate how humorous this is by like week 3 or chapter 3 of the book. This is the nice thing about sort of the learning curve for Hebrew, is once you get past the alphabet and like get a handful of vocabulary words under your belt. Once you kind of get over that hurdle and you get comfortable and a little familiar with how sentences kind of go together and the way it works, which it's just different from Semitic languages are just different from the way English functions. So much makes sense. So when this is I guess it's the blessing and the curse, and then I'll shut up and we can probably wrap it up. But you can't unlearn this stuff. So every time you hear someone online in a debate talking about slavery say, the Hebrew word abed means slave, right? You can't unlearn how Hebrew words are pronounced. I mean, I guess you can just forget it, but you'll hear very quickly, Eved is how you pronounce the word slave, not abed, not abad. Like, how else do they say all kinds of crazy shit? But you learn it really quickly, and so you can pick up instantly who knows Hebrew and who's bullshitting you. So it's a nice feature, nice bonus.
Mishkapat. Yes, it's true. It's sorry. I mean, there's just too many examples. I encountered another one last night, Josh, that I hadn't even shared with you yet. But it's yes. Thank you, Slavanista. It is a pretty sick ghost shirt.
Wait, you can't like throw that out there that there's another one.
And then
sorry. Just be like, yeah, it's awesome. Josh, there's this awesome one, and I haven't even told you about it yet. Look,
so there's a
huge distracting thing. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
We're
so there's
saving
this
it for this evening so that we can direct people from here to.
Is that what you're doing?
I don't know.
Sure, but we can. I could talk about it because I might forget, but I'll try to remember again. So there's this story in Numbers. Is it 24, 25? No, it's not. It's so there's a story in Numbers about Miriam and Aaron complaining to Yahweh about Moses because he's getting all the attention, and Yahweh gets angry with Miriam and makes her leprous. Actually, I think as I'm thinking about it, I think I can probably. Oh, look! Holy cow! I literally just opened up to the page.
That's amazing.
Where it is. I love it when that happens. So
Praise
Numbers
Jeebus.
12. Praise Jeebus. Numbers 12. So I'm just gonna go there because I learned last night that Numbers 12. Starting in verse 1, Miriam and Aaron, I'm just reading from the JPS, spoke against Moses because of the Cushite woman he had married. He married a Cushite woman. They said, has Yahweh spoken only through... Oh, by the way, the JPS didn't use Yahweh. That's me. Has Yahweh spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us as well? Yahweh heard it. Now, Moses was a very humble man, more so than any other man on earth. Suddenly, Yahweh called to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, come out, you 3, to the tent of meeting. So all three of them went out. Now, the text here says in verse 4, Vayomer Adonai, Pitom el Moshe ve'el Acharon ve'el Miriam, tu shaloshtachem. So come out, the three of you, el ohel moed, to the tent of meeting. That's what the text says. And we know this, right? Because we can read it. There's a preposition there, el, that indicates the action being taken by the verb here on the people is to this place, the Ohel Moed. But I learned very interestingly, watching the now disgraced Egyptologist last night, that the text actually doesn't say come out to the tent of meeting. It actually says come out of the tent of meeting. And we know this because the reason Yahweh got mad was apparently if there's a double transgression that's really bad in the Hebrew. This is something else I also learned last night. It's something really bad. If you do two things wrong, it's really, really bad. And so it was the double transgression, right? It was that, they were complaining. Yeah, that's bad. It's bad to complain about this sort of thing. But the other thing was that they were actually in the tent of meeting. And women aren't allowed in the tent of meeting. So he says, come out of the tent of meeting. So yeah, that happened. But if you know Hebrew, you can look at that and go, guys,
is there like
that's just
like
bullshit. It's just,
I mean, is there like a variant somewhere? Is he
I
saying,
don't know. I mean, Jesus, like,
I think that's
with,
giving much credit.
think of the source here now.
Yeah,
And I know, I just,
well, maybe he heard a woman translate it too, and he said, well, that can't be right.
I think that must be it. So yeah, but that was fun. And there's there's stuff like that. But this is the point, right? I mean, I pick on this one source a lot, but this is rampant. Spend enough time on the internet, and everybody is just making shit up about Hebrew.
Yeah,
constantly
making shit up about everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Being able to recognize it is a nice thing.
And this is actually probably a good thing to kind of close on, as I know the kids are probably going to start going crazy here shortly.
Screaming.
So having the ability to suss out bullshit, it's a skill that if you're listening to us online, chances are you're in other spaces where you're hearing people make arguments, and you may not have the requisite expertise or formal training to be able to ascertain who is that person actually making a legitimate argument. The nice thing about these classes, be it Sumerian or Akkadian or Hebrew or Middle Egyptian, because we also have Middle Egyptian courses, is that it doesn't take long before you get enough under your belt to know two things. One, who's bullshitting, because they will tip it. People will tip their hand because they don't know how to pronounce a particular word, or they'll make some goofy comment about some form that they have no idea, or they'll say the Strong's Concordance says. If somebody says the Strong's Concordance says, they probably never studied Hebrew. Just FYI. And the other thing that you'll get is enough information to never make that same mistake yourself, because you very quickly realize, holy shit, I can't just come out here and say whatever thinking that I know all the details of this language and that I can just go take on the, the comparative Semiticists that have been working in this, text for the, the last 35 years. My knowledge is not at a level that I could just go look at Strong's Concordance and come away with something that they've never figured out before. They've never seen it before. And it's such an amazing skill set to develop, because then you actually start to understand why scholars are saying what they're saying about the text, why it is that they say, yeah, this particular passage is utilizing, let's say, something from this earlier Akkadian myth, or it's borrowing, it's dependent upon the Enuma Elish, or it's dependent upon Atrahasis, because now you've studied Akkadian and you know enough Akkadian to be able to, oh, I can see that. Or you've studied Hebrew and you can say, oh yeah, they don't use the word bana for you to build, to create humans, right? That they don't use it for that. But holy shit, they use it all over the place in Akkadian to create humans. And so anyway, I love, and I'll shut up, but I love when I'm teaching in KIP, I suspect you do too, and I know Megan does as well, when you see those aha moments in your students' eyes. And there are so many of them when we teach these courses, because they're designed to bring about those moments. That's what they're for. And I don't know, I love it. Okay, anyway.
You two should talk about what you're doing this evening so people watching can join you, and then we will close out. And
it's not live.
It's not live. Never mind. Don't talk about it.
So, but it's coming.
Ignore I said anything.
Yeah, that's okay.
Do you want to tell them what it is so they can look forward to it?
So yeah, we will. Josh and I, along with Maya Adkisson from Bad Science Sundays, are going to be recording some content about. Well, I mean, it's Josh, so it feels like it always comes down to this, doesn't it? So more biblical slavery stuff, but I think especially pertinent in today's day and age is that there's been a perceptible shift in the tone and the direction of the apologetics, which is alarming, and by design, and getting through this issue, and it at this point, it's not just because it's not just about pointing out over and over and over again, as we have to constantly do, because people who talk on this topic, Christian apologists who talk on this topic of biblical slavery, I'm just not even convinced that they actually care that much. And this is part of what makes this so problematic right now too, is they're into this shit. They just are.
Yeah.
They are into this shit. And it's it's kind of a terrifying moment where we're entering in history. Maya continues to remind me that this is nothing new. That this has always been there. And I mean, that's a big part of why she's joining us today, is because these are things that Josh and I just don't see.
Yeah.
Clearly, intuitively. Like we all should. So yeah, people should keep their eyes open for that. So, but
I don't know if people are familiar with it. I've sent it to Kip before. There's a show called Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's one of my favorites. And there's an episode where they watch the movie The Final Sacrifice, which is filmed somewhere in Canada. I think it may be in Edmonton. I'm not sure.
It's a terrible place, Edmonton.
But there's, if you've seen the show, they have these sort of breaks throughout the movie where they'll come out of the theater and have some kind of funny interaction out in the main part of the satellite. And this one, Tom Servo, one of the two robots, is dressed as a Mountie, one of the mounted police. I think that's what you call him. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, he sings this song. Oh, I wish I were back in old Canada, a land which I never shall lampoon. Anyway, it's
I'm interested to see where you're going with
yeah.
this.
Yeah, I am going somewhere. And so Mike and Crow join in, and they start singing about how terrible Canada is, right? No, I wouldn't go there even if you paid me. Oh, Canada, you're a land I must eschew, right? It's just so okay. So then they say, "Come on, Servo, give in." And so Servo changes completely, and he says, and I probably shouldn't say these lyrics, but you should go look it up. I wish I were creating Boom, Prince Edward Island, then going on to Boom, Ontario. The destruction of Canada and all of its culture is by far my favorite scenario. And then it continues on. You can see like Mike and Crow, like, and he goes, no, this is much better, guys. Just where the hell does Canada get off sharing a border with countries far superior to it? Anyway. So at the end, they stop him, and this is where I'm going with this, is they say, come on, Servo, mustn't hate. And Crow says, at least so overtly.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the scary shift that I think we are all seeing.
Yeah.
Is that it's no longer taboo to be so openly bigoted.
Yeah.
And racist. And now, and again, like Maya obviously is absolutely right, and obviously about this, is that hatred, that racism, that bigotry has always been there. But now it's just not as bad to just come out and say it. It's bad. They just feel more free to come out and say it. And that's what terrifies, I mean, all of us. It should terrify all of us. Mm-hmm. Because when I started talking about slavery in the Hebrew Bible, I've said this before a number of times, but the one thing that I never thought, I always imagined that I would say, look, apologists, you guys don't, I understand why you think this. And you have people like Peter Williams or Paul Copan, and they're trying to, they give you this out to say slavery doesn't really mean slavery. It's, it's this, let's look at how ancient Near East, whatever. And so you can kind of reinterpret it. But look, you have to realize that there's a lot of overlap here, real overlap between what you understand slavery to be and what they understood slavery to be. And I always imagined that they'd be like, oh my gosh, all right, well, I have to like rethink this, but the one thing that they wouldn't do, there's no way then they would just come out and say this. It's what they're doing now, is they're going, slavery's not really bad. It's not really bad. We have to do it as God intended.
Nope.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
In their minds, right? And it, I think the real, when the lights went on for me, Josh, the first time, it's been a slow awakening, but when they went on the first time was when you and I had our exchange.
Oh my
gosh, with Gavin Ortland and
Trent Horn.
Trent Horn. And I didn't even, because this was that kind of a moment for me, right? Yep. Where this was not in my notes. This was not on script. This was just me throwing it out there as let's start with something that we can agree on. I think we can all agree that slavery is evil. This is a softball. This is the one that everybody should be able to hit out of the park every single goddamn time. And I was shocked
Yeah.
that there was silence.
Yeah.
On the other end, followed by, it depends on what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, I
No,
just
it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
So, and this is why, and I don't know. This is why you keep fighting this fight. I pick on you. I call you Captain Slavery. Because this is, but this is why you keep picking on this fight, because it is getting worse.
Yeah.
And the message, as much as I appreciate, and I think the message that you've been delivering for many years now, that a lot of people are picking up on, and just hammering home. Um, I think people are getting it on in the broad strokes, but this is also created a climate in which, it's done what I think you hoped it would do, what I hoped it would do, where this is not something that anybody can just ignore anymore, and you can't just brush it away with the simple apologetics. What I never expected was that instead of, going, oh, right, the response has been, yeah, you are right. So I don't know, maybe this is just okay.
Yeah.
And so there's all that to say, there's a, like, the shift in the dialogue has made it necessary for the kind of video that or videos, I guess,
Yeah.
that we're going to be producing over the next little while. But I think people should be encouraged too, in recognizing that that with this apologetic shift, with more people recognizing that the Bible is just a-okay with slavery. It's, I mean, I think ultimately that is good,
Yeah.
that people are aware of that, and that there are ways that we can continue to counter that, from the perspective as biblical scholars, and as people who continue to have a keen interest in the text as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We should wrap this up. Keep
Yeah, you
everyone, if
should.
you're not subscribed to Kip's channel, is this going to be on your channel or Maya's, Kip?
This is it'll be on at least my channel, probably both. But just so people are aware, I will actually be doing a live stream tonight as well too. It'll
Okay.
be, long after you guys are in bed, but for people
Look,
who
it's
are
not my
still
fault I
awake,
turn into a pumpkin at 10 p.m.
I understand. It's true. So, but
So everyone go find Kip. He's
Yep.
awesome. Also Maya.
thanks.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
And this is the book for the last time before we say goodbye. Learn to read. Ancient
Phenomenal.
Hebrew. Introduction.
Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. It's
and
very
thank
exciting.
you for the book, because I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you using it.
You did a good job.
I have learned that even though it feels self-serving and I don't like that feeling, you're supposed to do this, so I'm going to do it. You're supposed to give a call to action. Call to action, everyone. So go buy the.
To name it with like a title.
Yeah, you're supposed to. Look, I have a box.
Sorry,
I need to check it.
You
No.
carry
So please go buy the book. You can get it on Etsy, going to Digital Hammurabi, which I think Megan just said. Sorry about that. Or you can get the book on Amazon. And if you do get a copy, please leave a review, even if it's just clicking on the the five stars. No, I obviously, if you think it's not worth that, be honest, obviously. But no, I if you can give a review, that really, really helps. And but yes, please go buy a copy of the book and give us feedback.
Yep.
Be
Thank
super
you,
interested.
everyone, for joining us. Kip, thank you so much for
Kip,
coming
thank you.
Yeah, of course.
on. Always a pleasure. We'll see you all soon.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.